This is a terrific panel, and I'm really pleased to see some good friends and respected colleagues from both sides of the Pacific here today. So, as a starting point, I have to say my view is that US-China relations have deteriorated at a speed and to a level that frankly was unimaginable just say 5 or 6 years ago. The two countries are locked in a security dilemma. Namely, we both blame the other side for the problems that we see. We both insist that the things that we ourselves are doing are fully justified. I think both sides seem convinced that the other one is on the wrong track. It's the other side that needs to change course. And that the relationship has reached a very dangerous stage of rivalry, of mistrust, of misunderstanding. Now, to your question, whether the Bali summit between our two presidents is going to prove just to be a speed bump, or whether it can really serve as an exit ramp away from strategic rivalry towards a sustainable relationship. These are open questions. We really don't know the answer yet. Now, some US officials, actually friends of mine who are in my former jobs that you mentioned, Assistant Secretary of State and Senior Director at the National Security Council, they just finished meetings in Hebei province with Vice Foreign Minister Xie Feng, who I used to work with. They were following up on the Bali summit. They were laying the groundwork for the visit of Secretary Blinken that you referred to in early February, I think, to meet with State Councilor Wang Yi and with other senior officials. Now, the visit of these two US officials was the first since Wendy Sherman went to Tianjin in July of 2021 to meet with Xie Feng. That's a long time. And those 18 months between meetings, I think they're a sad reflection on the lack of engagement between the two governments. But in any case, the agenda for this meeting between US and Chinese officials fell into four basic categories. First was guiding principles for the relationship. Second was the difficult bilateral issues between us. Third was promoting exchanges, promoting communication. And the fourth was areas for cooperation. So in my view, there are two really urgent and essential principles that the two sides need to accept. The first is don't set unreasonable preconditions for communication or for cooperation. What do I mean by that? Well, let's remember that on August 5th, the Chinese government stopped all dialogue with the US on major issues to protest Nancy Pelosi's visit to Taiwan. And then the next month, September, State Councilor Wang Yi told my old boss, John Kerry, that China wouldn't cooperate on global issues like climate change until the US first stopped challenging Beijing's core interests. So I think that kind of linkage is something that we should try to avoid. Our responsibilities as major powers, responsibilities to humanity, responsibilities to planet Earth, really mean that our two nations don't have an alternative to cooperate, that we have to cooperate on global challenges like climate change, like food security, like infectious disease, or nuclear proliferation. So my proposal is that a first principle in US-China relations should be to declare these areas as safe spaces for cooperation, no matter what the state of our bilateral relationship might be at any particular moment. And I'd say that the second key principle is that we urgently need to manage military risks. That means developing procedures that reduce the chances of an accident or of some sort of incident between our militaries. And it also means putting in place dialogues and mechanisms that could help prevent an incident, if it does happen, from escalating into a crisis. So those would be my two recommendations based on where I think things stand and the upcoming visit by Secretary Blinken. But I'm very, very interested in listening to what others on the panel might have to offer. So let me stop here and turn it back to you, Henry.